Hey, welcome back to the Build It Basement. You may have noticed that Creality came across the screen, and you might see the thing that's down below. And this is not one of my normal videos about Vorons. This is actually a semi-promotional video about the Spider Hot End that's new out by Creality. It's their high flow, high temperature, all metal hot end. That's relatively new. It's not brand new, so it's had some time in the market. It's been used by a lot of folks, and I've been using it now for a few weeks. I actually received mine at no cost directly from Creality, so we'll get that out on the table right now. But I did want to give a little posting because they did offer the folks that watch this video and the folks that are interested in buying one a 10% off discount if they buy it on Amazon, and I'll have that down below here relatively shortly, and it'll be in the description as well. But I want to talk a little bit about Creality as a whole, and why don't we go ahead and put up that discount code right there while we're talking about it. So I don't give Creality enough love. I did this in a live stream a little bit back. It wasn't a promotional thing, but I was talking about Creality. I was talking about my Ender 5 printer that I have right here, and talking about the fact that I would have never gone into 3D printing. As far as I know, maybe I would have, but as far as I know, I wouldn't have gone into 3D printing if it wasn't for Creality manufacturing a low cost, relatively high quality 3D printer for the masses, So my Creality Ender 5 is what really spawned me off to go ahead and buy and build additional 3D printers. Now, this is not a Voron by any stretch of the imagination, but the things you can get off of one of these printers is enough to build a Voron printer, or it may be enough just for everything you need. There's nothing wrong with this printer. It's very nice. It does everything most people need. Again, discount code down here-ish, and also down in the description if you are interested in buying the Spider Hot End. And I just finished a print, so why don't we go ahead and slap over to that. So let me disable my motors here on my Ender printer, just so I can push that. Actually, let's just home it. So I just wanted to kind of put this out here that, and I probably shouldn't have done that, but we did anyways. So we can get that off. Yeah, so I like printing these little 3D spinners. They work pretty well. They print pretty fast, and with a little bit of manipulation of them, they open right up and they work really well. So this just came off of this. I haven't completely tuned this hot end yet, but that came out. That was about a 12-minute print on this printer. Now this printer is running a clipper version, so it has been upgraded there. It is running a newer version of the controller board that's also from Creality, but the newer ones already come with that, and you can already put clipper or other versions of firmware on your printer. But Marlin should be fine too, and you can also modify Marlin. So one of the things I wanted to do, aside from look at that, is I want to get over here and take a look at my setup, because right now, one of the biggest questions I've gotten when I mentioned this in the live stream is, how does it work with the Microswiss setup? Because I think a lot of people that were looking to get upgrades on their printers, they did so. Let me put my little face over here with this Lumix 1 with Sony Round. Yeah, so there we go. I think a lot of people that have an Ender version printer did buy an upgrade at some point from Microswiss. Microswiss was right on top of building some additional parts of this printer, but Creality has kind of now stepped up and started doing that as well. They probably say, hey, people want additional parts for our printers, we might as well make them, right? So one of the questions I've gotten quite a bit is, how does it work? Does it work with the Microswiss direct drive extruder? And the answer is yeah, it does very easily. And it's also very much nicer than the Microswiss. So this is the Microswiss right here, or right here, depending on how you want to look at things. And there's nothing wrong with it. It's an all metal hot end. Basically, it's a very close clone to the actual original that comes on the Creality, which again is a decent hot end for the money. It comes with the printer, and it'll work for 99% of what you want to do. So that's the original. That's the Microswiss. On the printer right now, I have the Microswiss direct drive here. It's a dual gear extruder. It's very nice. But let's take a look at the actual installation of this, in case you didn't see it on my other video. And it all starts with probably turning the printer off first of all, but let's go ahead and take this apart real quick. So I want to show you how easy it is to upgrade this. So 2 screws pretty much take the shroud off of your Ender 5 in this case. And I do have a BL Touch on here. Go ahead and slide this aside best I can. There we go. So we took the 2 screws out of that, slide this aside. We have our touch probe off. And right here we're looking at the Spider installed. And pretty much, if you already have a piece of Bowden tube on there, it will go directly into the Spider. You shouldn't have any issues there. And the Spider is attached just with 2 additional screws here, which I'm not going to take out completely, but you know, nice and tight. A little bit of thread locker on those is not a bad idea when you go into your back plane. Now, that being said, this right here, this back plane, this is the Microswiss version, but the original one that comes with this to ride on this back rail here is pretty much the same. The mounting points are the same. The only difference is it has a Bowden tube, whereas this one does not. This is a direct feed. So I did want to show that real quick. It's a plug and play unit, so you can plug it right in. I believe for near everything. Now, if you couldn't plug it directly in, you can basically connect these wires up. It does come with extension wires that allow you to pull them all the way down if you wanted to. But it'd be a lot easier if you feel like you got a little bit know-how knack and you don't want to do connectors. You could even basically just cut those back, solder them together with some heat shrink, and you'd be good to go because you have plenty of motion area here for these wires to move around without worrying about those necessarily breaking on the solders. So let's go ahead and put this back together and let's take a look at the specifications for this thing. And you'll get to see how quickly this actually goes together. So I'm going to put that back on. I just got to get my wiring here where I need it. Sometimes easier said than done, right? There we go. All right, and then our touch probe. Like that. Behind the shroud. The shroud of darkness. And the most difficult part about this whole procedure, this process, is getting the screws to stay on your screwdriver. So, go ahead and get that where I want it, where I need it. Get it aligned. I'm gonna go ahead and start the screw right here, get it through the second one too, the second hole on the touch probe, and then line it up with the hole. Let's get a couple threads on there. We don't want to get too much. And then we'll get the second screw in. This one's a little bit more tricky because it's behind stuff. But overall, in terms of upgrades, super simple. There's one, there's two. There we go. Back to normal, okay? Turn that back on. All right. So now the camera's way up there. Ah! So super simple to install, super simple to use. It just allots you some additional speed, and that's not a bad thing ever. So let's look at specs real quick. Right here. And I got a split screen going right here with my printer running Clipper down here. So yeah, we'll get rid of that. We'll just full screen on this. So basically what you're looking at here is Creality 3D Parts. This is their website, but it's also on Amazon. Again, the link will be down below in the description. So they're calling this a Spider high temperature, high flow hot end, as we already know. So basically no modification required, meaning that basically a couple screws is all you need to do. The wrench that's there, yeah. Do you need a tool? Yeah. Does it require modification? No, you don't have to cut anything. You don't have to modify anything. You just basically have to screw it in place. If it's your first time making a modification to a printer, it will probably take you about 15 to 20 minutes. Let's see here, fast heat dissipation. So that's another big thing too. If you've had issues in the past with clogs inside of your hot end because of the cooling portion of the hot end, basically where your filament goes from melting to cool, or from basically the glass point transition point, this basically has a very good amount of fins on there, and they're spaced specifically so that that cooling can get in there and basically make sure you don't have that issue happen as much. I can't guarantee it's not going to happen at all, but it shouldn't happen as much. Right here, they're talking about the melting zone, high flow printing, 30% additional on that block. And again, that's much more than you're going to find even on the Microswiss. And this is a much nicer looking package too. And I got to tell you, I don't know if I can get it on camera, but if you didn't notice, and I can show you kind of on this picture here, but the way that this works with this nozzle, the boot that they have on this, the silicone boot that they come with, basically covers everything up except for maybe the last, 2.5, 3 millimeters of the nozzle. So not a lot of room on there for a mess to happen. Very nice the way they did that. Very, very much appreciate that. Let's see here, titanium alloy screws on the base of it. You know, basically we're getting the specifications that you may not care about, but they're getting into the things that make this what it is and why the cost is what it is. Okay, so right here, TPU, PC, polycarbonate, PA, PLA, ABS, PETG, those types of things. So let's talk a quick second about that. If you have a Creality printer, you can already print PLA just fine. ABS may be pushing it, but you probably need a little bit of a modification to be able to do that. You want to be able to get that bed temperature up, and you may want to buy a Creality chamber to put it in. I'll put a link to one of those in my description down below for this too. I have one of those actually, and I did use my Creality Ender 5 to print all of my parts for my first Voron, so that's pretty awesome. Polycarbonate, I've also printed polycarbonate with my Ender 5 as well. If you are interested in that type of thing and you think it might be kind of a little bit far-fetched or something like that, just leave me a comment and I'll tell you what my trick was when I did it. I talked about it in previous videos too, but there is a trick to printing polycarbonate on an Ender printer, and it's not that complicated or expensive to do. So anyways, 300 degrees on this hot end, which is much higher and hotter than you can get with the original. They talk about the cage with the lifespan of that being a heat sink, and basically the double screws that go up into that to hold the heat break on. So very, very, very nice, both in look and in actually build, form, function, all those types of things. You know, this is just a really, really nice piece of equipment from Creality. Yep. So let's see, parameters they have here. So color's red. Yeah, we got to talk about that. You know, obviously if you make one color, it's cheaper. I would prefer to have blue or even all black, but they come in red, so that's fine. Print pretty much any type of material you want to print with, and it is a 1.75 filament unit, which is 100% the standard at this point. There's not so much of the larger filaments out there. Let's see here, traction distance can be adjusted according to the printing situation. They're saying 5 millimeters, and that's basically just because of the heat break inside there. Overall temperature resistance, 450 degrees, including the silicone, excluding the silicone sleeve. So that's basically how hot the metal can get and still probably not warp or get damaged. The silicone sleeve is probably good to about 300, 310, based on my experience with those in general. Inner diameter of the throat tube doesn't really matter, but it's 1.9, and etc, etc, etc. Yeah. So all that being said, I am very happy with this unit thus far. I haven't had any issues with it. It hasn't clogged up on me. I have been able to print ABS, PLA, ASA. I have not done PC on it yet. I haven't had a need to print APC, but from what I can see, this is a massive upgrade from the original. It is a decent upgrade from the Microswiss. I like the build a lot better than the Microswiss. And let me get that discount code up there again. So discount code right there, if you're interested in buying the Creality Spider high flow, high temp, hot end, it is relatively inexpensive to start off with, so that extra 10% really brings it down in price. If you have a Creality CR10, Ender 5, Ender 3, something along those lines. Basically, it's a no-brainer. You could pretty much put that in your printer and increase the performance you can get out of that printer, assuming that you have software that will allow you to do that. Now, one more thing I'm thinking about, but I can't verify, but I'm gonna add it in here anyways, is there are a lot of clones of the Ender products. And as long as your clone is using a 2-screw install for the hot end, there's a decent chance that you could actually use this hot end on an Ender clone product as well. I can't guarantee that, and I have not done research on that, but that'd be something worth checking out if you are interested in that and you did not buy an Ender printer originally. Heck, it might make you think that you may have wanted to buy an Ender printer once you use this hot end. It works pretty well. So that being said, again, not a really long video, but just a quick video showing you what I feel about the Ender Spider, or sorry, the Creality Spider. When it's on my Ender, it's an Ender Spider. And the fact that it does work well, it prints well, people have asked me about it, and I want to make sure everybody gets that discount code with a full month to use it. So, hey, if you got questions, go ahead and leave me a comment. Ask me a question in there. I'll do my best to answer it. In the description below, you'll see a note with the discount code on there, as well as a link to where you can buy it on Amazon, as well as a link to the housing that I put my Ender 5 into to do my printing when I'm using ASA or ABS, and maybe a couple other things like my glass bed, things like that. I really don't know what comes with an Ender these days. This one right here has been a workhorse for about 3 years, so maybe 4 by now. But anyways, let you go. You guys do what you gotta do. Check out the Ender Spider, Creality Spider if you're really interested in that type of thing, if you want to do any upgrades on your printer, and I'll see you next time.